In the Shadow of the Ratliff Hotel by Dean Petersen. Antonella, Rigotti. 1. The last train howled past the platform and left Antonella Rigotti standing alone next to the sign saying Rock Springs in black letters. All the other people she had been boxed in with on the train across the country had disappeared from the platform and left her alone. She stared out at the ragtag of fresh pine that was being hoisted into the shape of a town across the tracks. The brightness of the new lumber glowed against the earth tones of sagebrush and dirt. A new place on the open prairie to scour the land for gold, or herd cattle, or whatever it was these people did. The wind whirled and slammed a spray of sand and dust into her face. She turned her back to it, knowing it was getting into the black locks of her hair. She blinked away the dust and wanted to cry. No one had ever been this far from home. At least that's what she thought. So far from her place on the cliffs of Manarola, where she could look down on the sea and watch the boats come home at night. Not thinking about her family was a continuing battle. Her little brother, and even her mean older brothers and her father. The thoughts flooded over her as the hot, wet tears overlapped her eyelids and pulled down the dirt on her cheeks. She saw herself reflected in the window of the tiny train station, wearing her best black dress and hat. She wiped at the tears with her sleeve and stared down at the flower she had pinned to her dress. She had told Giovanni in her letter that she would wear a paper flower so he could recognize her at the station. She frowned at the reflection in the window. She was a tired, dirty form, blasted with dust and disheveled from all the jostling of the trip. The silhouette of a thin man was standing next to her reflection, with a crooked, tall hat. She spun to face him, feeling her pulse surge. A cigar protruded from his tiny mouth. Wet rivulets of nicotine ran down his dirty beard. His black overcoat was thick with road dust. A brace went down half the length of his leg, made of filthy leather straps and rusting metal struts. His red eyes were small, and stared unblinking at her like he was picturing her without her clothes. She wanted to curse him, but her breath was gone. The white scales of his cracked lips spread to the corners of his mouth, bearing a scattershot of rotted black teeth, and made his moldering cigar rise up at an angle towards his pointed nose. He raised a tattered yellow sheet of paper up to her face like a summons, and her eyes focused on the familiar curls and dots of Giovanni's handwriting.